Hello everybody, it's Charlene here from Yoga with Charlene. Welcome, it's so good that you've come to join me. I've got a beautiful story today about something that I love dearly, and that is trees. This is a story called The Story of Three Trees. So I thought we might start by talking about why trees are so amazing, why they're so special, but why they're so important, why we really need them on planet Earth, and how planet Earth wouldn't be the same without amazing trees. So I brought along a tool that I have, and this tool is called actually I wonder if you can guess what it is. Let's see if you can guess what I'm doing at the moment. Have you guessed it yet? You probably have. I am deep breathing, or I'm breathing. This is my breathing ball. It's actually called a Hoberman sphere, but we're using it as a learning tool to look at how our breath works within us. So here inside our chest, we have two, do you know what they're called? Lungs. They're called lungs. And if we were to have a look or draw a picture of our lungs, they would look like an upside down tree, and they really, really do. They have the tree, the roots kind of come up here a little, and then here we have the trunk of the tree, and then out here inside our lungs are all of our little branches. And every time you take a breath in through your nose, and then you breathe in here, then that air that you breathe in from the outside world, that actually comes from the trees, what the trees makes, then that fills into your inside trees. So you breathe the air from the outside trees into your inside trees, into your lungs. But there's another part in that picture. So the way that you can get more breath into your lungs is by filling your belly up like a balloon, like my breathing ball. So when you breathe in, imagine your belly blows up really, really big like this. And then when you breathe out, it gently contracts back into the center, just naturally recoils back. So now, if you don't have a breathing ball, there's two ways you can do it. One way is you can just place your hands on your belly, and as you breathe in through your nose into your lungs, the more that you breathe even deeper and let your belly blow out like this, the more air you're going to get into your whole body. So let's try it together. Ready? Breathe in just like you're smelling something nice. And then breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Oh, how good does that feel? Notice how that makes you feel on the inside. Amazing. Now, if you don't have a breathing ball, another way you can do it is pretend that your hands are like a breathing ball. Start with them close in together. And as you breathe in, as you breathe out, as you breathe in, and as as you breathe out. Wow. Take a quiet moment to feel that. Wow. So, before we start the story, I just want to share 2 more magical things about trees. Oh, they're the best huggers. Have you hugged a tree today? Oh, just imagine that you're hugging a tree. They are the best huggers and they love your hug and they love you talking and singing to them. So you might like to do that when we finish this story today, finish yoga. Another thing is when you look at trees, especially if they're trees in a forest where there's lots of trees, where they all belong together and we need them all. Wow, they are so strong and sturdy. Do you know why? Because they have something that grows deep through the earth. Do you know what I'm talking about? The roots. The roots go deep, 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 deep down into the earth. But not only that, they also start to travel out, sideways and around them. And so what those trees, when you see lots of trees in a line, they're actually not only, their roots are not only supporting themselves down there, but they entwine with one another in the earth. And they actually communicate with each other and they support each other. Wow, they stand together like one united forest, and that is amazing. Hey? So that means that we need every single tree in the forest, don't we? Because if we hurt one tree, then everything else is affected. So trees are so special. Another thing is the big ones create lots of shelter for the little ones when they're growing, but then eventually they actually make a little space so the little ones can grow and find their way to the light as well. So they look out for each other, they provide protection, but they also allow space for the little ones to grow into the big trees that they're here to become as well. They're my little special things about trees. Now to the yoga story, because I know you're ready to do some yoga. So I have to say, in our story today, there is a case of the wood choppers chopping a tree down, but that's only to get a message across, okay? So we're saying we're not going to cut any trees down, but there is a little bit of that in the story, and it's only just symbolic, okay? It's only symbolic to share a deeper message in the story. So just know that. All right, are we ready? I'm going to read the story first, then we're going to redo it with yoga. All right, there's so many awesome poses that we can do in the story. But first, we'll actually hear the story. So here comes the story. Once upon a mountaintop, 3 little trees stood and dreamed of what they wanted to become when they grew up. The first little tree looked up at the stars twinkling. They were twinkling like diamonds above him. I want to hold treasure, he said. I want to be covered with gold and filled with precious stones. I want to be the most beautiful treasure chest in the whole world. That was the first little tree's dream. The second little tree looked at the river flowing its way to the ocean. I want to be a mighty sailing ship. I want to travel dangerous waters and carry powerful kings. I will be the strongest ship in the whole wide world. The third little tree looked down in the valley below, where busy men and busy women worked in a busy town. I don't want to leave this mountaintop at all, he said. I'm going to grow so tall that when people stop and look at me, they will raise their eyes to the sky and think of the Creator, or think of God, think of Spirit. I will be the tallest tree in the world, he said. And that was the third tree's dream. Now, years and years passed. The rains came, the sun shone, and the little trees all grew very tall. Then one day, 3 woodcutters climbed the mountain and saw the three tall trees. The first woodcutter looked at the first tree and said, "This tree is beautiful. It is perfect for me." And with a swoop of his axe, he cut down the first shining tree. Now I shall be made into a beautiful treasure chest, thought the first tree. I shall hold wonderful treasure. The second woodcutter looked at the second tree and said, this tree is strong. It is perfect for me. So with a swoop of his axe, he cut down the second tree. The tree said, "Now I shall sail through mighty waters, and I shall be a strong ship fit for kings." Oh, the third tree felt his heart sink when the last woodcutter looked his way. He stood straight and tall and pointed bravely skyward toward heaven, but the woodcutter never even looked up. "Any tree will do for me," he muttered with a swoop of his shining axe, and the third tree fell to the ground. The first tree rejoiced when the woodcutter brought him to a carpenter shop, but the busy carpenter was not thinking about treasure chests, gold, or jewels. Instead, he used his work-worn hands to make the tree into a feeding box for animals. The once beautiful tree was not covered with gold or filled with jewels or treasure like he had wanted. He was coated with sawdust and filled with hay for hungry farm animals. The second tree smiled when the woodcutter took him to a shipyard, but no mighty sailing ships were made that day. Instead, the once strong tree was cut up and hammered into a small fishing boat. Too small and too weak to sail over an ocean or even a river, he was put into a little lake. Every day, simple fishermen got on board and filled him with loads of dead, smelly fish. And the third tree? The third tree was very confused, for the woodcutter cut him into strong beams and just left him laying there in the lumber yard. What happened? The once tall tree wondered. All I ever wanted to do was stay on the mountaintop and point to the Creator, to point to God. Many, many days and many nights passed, and the three trees nearly forgot about their dreams. Then one starlit night, starshine poured over the first tree as a young woman placed her newborn baby into the feeding box. "Oh dear, I wish I could make a cradle for him," her husband whispered. The mother squeezed his hand and smiled as the starlight shone on the smooth and sturdy wood. "This manger is beautiful and perfect for our little Jesus," she said, and suddenly the first tree knew he was holding the greatest treasure in the entire world. One evening, years and years and years after that, the tired traveller and his 12 friends crowded into the old fishing boat. The traveller fell asleep as the second tree quietly sailed out into the lake. Soon a thundering and thrashing storm arose. The other men on the boat started screaming in fear that they would all perish. The tree shuddered. She knew she did not have the strength to carry so many passengers safely in the wind and the rain. The tired man awoke. He stood up and stretched out his hand and said, "Peace!" The storm stopped as quickly as it had begun. And suddenly, the second tree knew she was carrying the real king, the King of heaven and earth. A little late on Friday morning, the third tree was startled when his beams were yanked from the forgotten wood pile. He flinched as he was carried through an angry, jeering crowd. He couldn't believe it when soldiers nailed a man's hand to him. He felt ugly and harsh and cruel. But on Sunday morning, when the sun rose and the earth trembled with joy beneath him, the third tree knew that love had changed everything. It had made the first tree beautiful, it had made the second tree strong. And every time people thought of the third tree, they would think of love. They would think of God. And that was better than being the tallest tree in the world. That he was made into the cross, the third tree. Did you get that? The cross? Wow, that's a pretty big story. How about now we repeat that with yoga, hey? Okay, time to stand up, time to move. You ready? So let's start. Once upon a time, on a mountaintop. So can we do mountaintop? Take your feet a little bit wide and take your arms and reach really strong. Now let's take your feet a little bit more together. So imagine that you are such a sturdy, sturdy mountain. Now, I wonder if you can stay a sturdy mountain here. Bring your hands down by your heart. Really feel your flat, broad base on your feet so you feel connected. And imagine that I'm just going to nudge your shoulders a little bit, but don't let me move you. You are a strong mountain. You ready? Oh my goodness. Let me just see this side. Wow, you are such a strong mountain. Amazing strong mountain. So on the mountain were 3 little trees. Can you do tree pose? This time with our tree pose, our first tree pose, we're going to root down with a standing foot, okay? You can be a baby tree because these trees are baby trees at this stage. So we can be baby trees. Or if you just want to be a little bit bigger, you can place one foot just underneath the knee and hands at your heart. So this is enough for our trees right now. Can you imagine that you've got those roots growing down into the earth and they're growing and growing all the time? So it looks like you can be a really strong tree already on that side. How about if we try the other leg now, okay? You ready? It does feel quite nice being a tree. And if you're wobbling at the moment, do you know my secret? Find a spot on the carpet or the floor in front of you to let your eyes rest. Make sure it doesn't move. And just stare at it. That helps you focus your mind. Breathe your breath from the trees deep down through your lungs and into your belly. That will help you concentrate as well. Ready? Release that foot down. Well done. So we've got 2 legs. We're going to root down with the other one this time. Root down. Maybe you're a baby tree, or maybe you come a little higher to a younger tree. Remember to keep looking at your spot in front of you and stay concentrating. Remember to breathe. Oh wow, you are amazing trees. Beautiful. So the trees were talking about what their dreams were. The first little tree looked up to the twinkling stars above. They were twinkling just like diamonds. And what was his dream? Do you remember the first tree's dream? He wanted to become, one day, a treasure chest to hold treasure. He wanted to be covered in diamonds and sparkles and filled with gold and precious stones, the most precious treasure in the world. Can you fold your treasure chest over and close your treasure chest? And now open your treasure chest. Open. And close it again. Open. And close it again. One more. Open your chest. And close your chest. Awesome. Do you remember what the second tree's dream was? Yeah, he wanted to become a boat. So can you make yourself into a flowing river? Reach up and pretend that you're a river and you're flowing. Flow, flow, flow down. Reach up again. Imagine that you're like waves kind of moving through the ocean, through the river. So your legs are long and your feet are looking upways. Inhale here as you sit your bottom down and reach your hands up. And exhale, fold like a flowing river. Breathing again. Inhale and fold like a flowing river. One more time. Inhale. Meaning breathe in and fold like a flowing river. Beautiful. Do you remember what actually, we haven't actually become his dream yet. What does he want to become on the river? He wants to become a sturdy ship, doesn't he? He wants to carry kings on major voyages. Can you sit on your bottom, bend your knees. Maybe we'll start here, just lifting both feet off the ground. You can hold on behind your knees at this stage. Remember to keep your back of your spine really long. Imagine I've got a string and I'm pulling you up here through your head. So, do you want a bit of a challenge now? We can make it a little bit harder by letting our hands go. And then maybe straightening one leg, maybe try to straighten the other leg. Hold. Oh, that can be pretty tricky, can't it, that one? It's a good one though. And if you have somebody with you, it's nice to do a partner pose. So you place your soles of your feet together and then you hold hands and then you straighten one leg and straighten the other leg and you come into partner both pose together. That's a lot of fun. So if you have a friend or a brother or sister at home now, or mum, or dad, or whoever's home, the grown-up that's home with you right now. Okay. What was the third tree's dream? Yes, he didn't want to leave the mountaintop at all. He wanted to grow so strong and tall on that mountain that he became the tallest tree in the world. So when people looked up at him, all they thought of was God. Wow. Years and years passed. And the rains came and the sun shone. Okay, everyone, I can hear the rain. I can hear the wind. Listen. I can hear the rain again. It's pitter-patter, pitter-patter on your head. Pitter-patter like the rain. Pitter-patter on the back of your head. Pitter-patter on the front gently. Pitter-patter on your body. Pitter-patter on your belly. On your back, on your legs. Oh no, it's getting stronger. Rain is getting stronger, everybody. Rain, rain, rain. Then the sun came out. Can you be the sun? Deep breath in. Hello to the sun. And then breathe out, fold forward. Hello to the earth. Big breath into the sun again. Breathe into the sun. Big breath out. Hello to the earth. One more. Breathe in. Hello to the sun. Breathe out. Hello to the earth. Now on this day, the three trees weren't little trees anymore. They were now big, tall trees, all three of them. Can we be big trees this time? And if you've got somebody beside you, you might like to connect hands and make like a joint kind of tree forest. I'm going to use my hand to lift my foot all the way on the inside of this other leg. This is a big tree. You can use a wall to steady yourself or use a friend or a partner. Okay, I'm going to just have my hands here and I'm going to keep my eyes on what I see in front of me there to stop me from falling over. But, oh, sometimes I wibble wobble. It feels like the wind's blowing me a little bit. Whoa! And that's okay. I'll take a deep breath down to my belly and my lungs. Let's change sides. I know you can be a big tree on that side. Root down through the other foot. Maybe you might like to do as I just did. Use your hand, place your foot on the inside of that leg, bring your hands to your heart, and yes, you can grow tall if you want to, or remember to support the people beside you. That's another beautiful thing to do, just like trees support each other. And you know, we breathe in what trees breathe out, and trees breathe in what we breathe out. We work together. It works in harmony. Nature is amazing. So are you. You're part of nature, you know. Let the arms rest down. Slowly lower the foot down. Do a little bit of movement here, moving the hips out. Now that the trees are growing, the wood choppers are on their way. They climb up the mountain. Can you climb up the mountain? You go, up you go, up you go, to the big strong mountain, and they see the trees. The first woodcutter looked at the first tree and said, "Oh, this tree is perfect for me." Can you take your feet wide, hands behind you? We're going to be the woodcutter. The wood choppers. So the way we'll do that is I'll stand to the side so you can see what I'm doing. I'm clasping my hands. Go 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. Oh my goodness. All that the first tree could see was this beautiful treasure chest that he was destined to become. He just saw it filled with gold and precious gems. So at this stage, he was very, very happy. The second woodcutter looked at the second tree and saw how strong he was and thought, "You are perfect for what I need." Once again, the second wood chopper stood with his legs wide, grabbed his chopping thing, and you ready to chop? 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. One more. 1, 2, 3, chop. I'll do one more. 1, 2, 3, chop. And down came the other tree, and he was very excited because all he could imagine was becoming this mighty ship to carry the best of the kings across the oceans on special voyages. And 1, 2, and whee! Now the third tree stood on the mountain with a big lump in his throat. "I don't want you to chop me down at all. I just want to stay right here, thank you." But the wood chopper was destined to find a tree that day. So, you ready? 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. 1, 2, 3, chop. You know that we're not really cutting down trees. We're just pretending for the story. The third tree fell to the ground. So, the first tree rejoiced when the woodcutter brought him to the carpenter's store. But instead of being made into a beautiful treasure chest, he was made into a feeding box for hungry farm animals. He was covered in hay and sawdust, but the farm animals thought that was pretty good. Can we pretend that we're farm animals now? So the first pose that we're going to do is a cow pose. So we're going to drop our belly. Notice how I get an arch in my back. Draw your head through. Breathe in, and when we breathe out, we're going to moo like a cow. Moo. And again. Breathe in, breathe out. Moo. And again. You can wiggle your little cow tail. Moo. There was also some sheep. Bah, 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 and there were some donkeys. So for our donkey pose, make sure nobody or nothing is behind you. Just be careful because we're going to lift our hips in the air and we're going to do little pretend donkey kicks. So, or, 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 or. Oh, it's a bit of fun. Let's just do a few more of those, hey? So you ready? Make sure nothing's behind you. Or, or. And of course, what else is on the farm? Horses. Come up to your knees. Step 1 foot forward. Keep the bottom knee on the ground. I'll show you from the side. Bring your horsey neck up. Then down to eat some hay out of the hay box. Hands to the floor. Step back, change sides. Step forward with the other leg. Once again, reach your horsey neck all the way up. Then down to take a drink. Beautiful. So the farm animals are really enjoying what this first tree has become, even though he's not quite so happy with it. Not yet, anyway. The second tree smiled when the woodcutter took him to a shipyard. But no ships were made that day. The only thing that was made was a little wooden fishing boat. Can you become the fishing boat again? Are you ready? 1 foot, 2 foot. Can you row and row and row, 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 row and row and row and row and row? How fast can you row? Row, 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 row. Slow, 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 slow. Ooh. 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 And he was loaded every day with lots of dead, smelly fish. Can you come down onto your elbows? Let your legs go long. Elbows behind you, weight on your forearms, and pop, pop, pop your chest up into fish pose. Now, many days and nights passed, and the third tree was still found himself cut into strong beams and just left to lay there at the lumberyard. Can we come to plank pose? So I'll show you from the side again. Hands underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes underneath you, and make your body really, really strong like a plank of wood. Strong arms underneath your shoulders. How long can you hold it for? You need a really strong belly. Can you feel how strong you are here at the front of your body? Can you feel how warm this is making you? Wow, that's called plank pose, and it's appropriate because he was in planks of wood. Now, all three of the trees had nearly forgotten about their original dreams. This is in their many, many years down the track. Something happened. The time was right. One star-filled night, the North Star shone really, really bright. Can you sing a song about a star? This is like shooting the star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Wow. On this star-filled night, a young woman placed her newborn baby into the feeding box. Can you take your leg and pretend that you're rocking a baby? Take the other leg out and let's pretend we're rocking a baby. Rock your baby. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Mama's gonna sing you a lullaby. It's to be the cutest little baby in town. Give your baby a kiss. Lamb down, and he wants another song. Can you lift your other baby in your arms? Let me think. It was a very special baby. So this tree had become a very special feeding box. It had become a crib for a very special baby. One evening, years and years after that, a long time when the baby had grown up, he became a traveller, a teacher, and he was teaching with 12 of his friends. And they all squeezed into this tiny boat. But one night, when the tiny boat was holding them all, there was a big storm. Are you ready? Here comes the wind. It's getting stronger. Here comes the rain. Pitter patter, 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 pitter patter. Getting stronger. Here comes the thunder. Rain and wind. Then the traveller, the little boat was afraid. It couldn't hold all of the men. It wasn't strong enough. All of a sudden, this traveller stood up and said to the storm, "Stop, peace, let there be peace, let there be peace." And all of a sudden, the whole storm became quiet. The waters became calm. Everyone could think clearly again, and there was peace. And it was then that the little tree knew that he was carrying the most king of kings, an amazing being on the planet. Now, a little while after that, on a Friday evening, a carpenter came and grabbed out the third tree's planks. Can you come into the plank again? Let your legs extend long, make yourself into a plank of wood. Yeah. He grabbed the planks and he hammered away, and he made this shape. And then this shape, the tree had become the cross, was carried through the streets. This is symbolic as well. Okay, this is symbolic, this part. But then all of a sudden, the cross was the little tree. The cross found himself being stood up, and the traveller was nailed to him. At this stage, the tree was feeling very harshly done. It wasn't feeling very good at all. It felt really awful on the inside. It really, really felt everything was very cruel. But then, on the Sunday morning, the sun rose, and there was joy moving through the whole entire earth beneath him. The tree was aware of the presence of love, energy, love in the air everywhere. He knew something had changed, and he had been a part of that. He had a very special purpose. And it was then that he knew that all three of them had a very special purpose. It might not have been as they intended it to be, but all three of them knew that they had a dream and that they were here for a reason. They didn't know what it was. They trusted, and it all turned out. The first tree had been made beautiful. The second tree had been made strong. And every time that people thought of the third tree, they would think of God. They would think of love. And that to the third tree was better than being the tallest tree in the world. Wow. Well done, everyone. We're going to lie down on our back now. Or you can sit up in a quiet, comfortable space. You can choose. And I'm going to give you or read you a story. It's actually called a meditation, okay? And this meditation is called I Am a Tree, I Am the Forest. It's by somebody called Alyssa Jean Klazek. So if you're laying down, I'd like you to make yourself really, really comfortable. You might want to get a breathing buddy or something to put on your belly. Make sure you're really warm and comfortable. Or you might just want to hug them at your heart, wherever you want. If they're in your belly, you can make them really relaxed. And I'm just going to speak a story to you. There's no pictures in the story. The pictures you will see in your mind, because you are in the story. You are in the meditation. This is a meditation that happens inside you. And you use a very special part of yourself called your inner eye, your imagination, your third eye, to actually picture the story. I'm going to sit up when I read it, but you stay laying down. So, one more breath in. So sit or lay in a very comfortable way. Close your eyes and begin to take a deep breath in and a full breath out. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Slow and steady. Now, imagine in your mind that you are seated under a tree in a forest. Imagine yourself sitting under a tree in a forest. Is your tree big or is your tree small? Does it have big leaves or little leaves? Feel the ground under you. Are you sitting on dirt or grass? Is the ground wet or dry? Look into the forest. What else is around the tree you are under? Do you see animals and bugs? What about other plants and bushes or trees? Look up to the sky. Do you see the sun or clouds? What does the sun feel like on your skin? Is it warm, comforting? Now smell the air around you. Does the air smell fresh and wet? Or does it smell like dirt and plants? What does the air feel like on your skin? Is the air cold or warm? Wet or dry? Listen to the sounds that you hear. Can you hear birds chirping? Or the sounds of other animals? Can you hear the wind rustling the plants and leaves of the trees? Can you hear the wind rustling the leaves of the trees? Feel your back up against the tree. Feel how the trunk of the tree is strong and sturdy. Feel your own body, how it is also strong and sturdy. Feel the big forest all around you. And feel your body sitting in the forest. Breathe the forest in and out. In and out. Feel that you are the tree and you are the forest. And rest here, breathing in and breathing out. Feel the forest all around you. The forest inside you. As I play you some music, stay resting in the forest and the forest in you. you want to stay laying down, or if you're going to go to sleep, I wish you a beautiful, peaceful night sleep with sweet dreams. But if you're going to sit up, and if it's daytime still, then slowly start to wiggle your fingers, stretch your body in a way that feels good for you. Maybe hug your knees into your chest, and then roll over to the side and give yourself the biggest hug, just like you're hugging a tree. Maybe we can send a big thank you from our hearts out to trees. And then if you have a tree in your backyard, you might want to go and give it a hug and say thank you to the tree. Let's slowly sit up. Maybe you can draw a picture of a tree as well. Wow, imagine that. Because a tree is a home for so many other animals and tiny creatures. So you could do the most magnificent tree. I'd love to see it. Maybe you can ask your mum or your dad or your carer to show me, to send it to me, a picture. Lots of love, everyone. Thank you for joining me for yoga today. Namaste. See you next time.